Hello, hello, hello. Okay, hey everybody, welcome to the Kris Avalon Show. I'm your host, Kris Avalon, and for the next 2 hours, I'll be bringing you the best in celebrity news, gossip, LGBT news, all the stuff you may have missed throughout the week. I just want to say happy Pride to everybody. I know Harlem Pride is today. Tomorrow is the big main event. What is the big main event? Oh, New York Pride. What? I am so retarded. But guess what? The big news I am so excited about to tell y'all is guess what today is? Today is our 100th episode! Today is my 100th episode. I made it to episode 100. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. I didn't think it was going to happen. But let me try to bring this phone up some. Yes, bitch, I did the math. So, yeah, today is episode 100. I'm wearing my Goonies shirt. My titties are on point. Feeling my oats. Okay, let me stop. But yeah, so I'm excited. I'm glad there's people who are sitting and watching. I'm dead. One of my friends was like, happy 100th episode. Kris Jenner didn't even get that. Exactly, because the bitch is not entertaining. That's why. Or entertaining. So yes, I made it to episode 100. This is like big news for me, and I guess I'm feeling all kinds of emotional. I couldn't wait till today because there have been many shows that I have done throughout the years, be it on YouTube, internet shows, radio shows, a bunch of other kind of shows, and we've never gotten to 100. So me doing this shit by myself, I've gotten there. 3 seasons, 100 episodes. This is technically the 33rd episode of season 3, but when you add all the seasons up, it turns into 100. First season I did was 20. What was it? We did 22 episodes. Second season we did 45. Today we did 33. So, yeah, I did the math, bitch. But anyway, let's move on from that and let's get right into the topics at hand, because there's a lot of stuff we was talking about today. Because yesterday the funny thing was, normally I always write down my topics of what I'm going to talk about. In regards of, like celebrity news and gossip and that sort of thing. I usually write down all the stuff that I'm going to talk about, but I didn't start writing everything down until yesterday. I don't know why. Probably because it was a weird week. It was a lot of stuff going on. This being gay pride, is like a lot of parties is going on starting from, I would say, Thursday, technically, because a lot of people started taking off. But if you really wanted to know the dirt and like some of the scandalous places you go to, the best places to start was like on a Tuesday. That's if you work like a weird schedule. But anyway, it's just been a lot going on. So yeah, let me just get to, because I just lost my train of thought. So let's just move on to the stories at hand. I don't even know what the hell I was trying to get to, but let's move on. So let's talk about XXX Tentacion. This has been a weird week in regards of stuff. Like, first he gets killed going to buy a car. He was in a car. Somebody was trying to rob him. I think he had a Louis Vuitton bag or something. I think it's an inside job. Quite frankly, I'm not a fan of his. I'm gonna just point that out. And if you've seen my posts and stuff online, I'm not necessarily a fan of him and his music and that sort of thing, or what he was about. To me, I felt like in a lot of ways he's a misogynist. I know a lot of people try to make excuses for a lot of stuff he did, particularly a lot of women, which I always find bizarre. Like, when it comes to this whole Me Too movement and a lot of stuff that goes on, why is it always women y'all be the first ones on the sidelines trying to defend an abuser? It's like, in a way, y'all suffer from Stockholm syndrome. Like, a lot of you bitches suffer from that. So I just don't get, like, how you could defend him. Then I heard for the first time when I was listening to the Do Dirty show before mine, I had no idea that there was a clip that was for, like, I was aware of the whole thing about him and gay bashing the guy because he said he tried to sexually assault him. Like this is a tired ass episode of Law and Order SVU, the one that they took off at NBC because it was too controversial. Like, I don't understand like how he was like, well, he used the word faggot numerous times when him and Chris Brown are exempt. What do you mean by that? I don't get, like, the whole thing. I was like, okay, so it's sort of, I know what you mean. I think what you're saying is that when it comes, like, women or people of color in our communities will look past everything that I'm guessing this is what you're saying. This is what I'm getting from it. They'll look past all the things that they do because, oh, they're talented. Oh, I like them. Oh, they're cute. There's that, because, people will bypass and overlook stuff because you're attractive or you got a big dick or they like your music. There's always a reason for that. But it's like, oh, yeah, but it's kind of like I was watching this interview and it wasn't Sister Circle. It was another interview that, Drea Kelly, R. Kelly's wife, was saying. And what she was basically saying was that a lot of times we excuse abuse. It's sort of like she was given the layers of it, and it made a whole lot of sense what she was saying. She was like, he verbally abused me today, but he didn't hit me. Oh, he slapped me. I mean, he punched me, but he didn't slap me. The next day, oh, he slapped me, but he didn't give me a black eye. Oh, he gave me a black eye, but he didn't choke me. Oh, he choked me, but he didn't stab me. Oh, he stabbed me, but he didn't kill me. Oh, he killed me. Now I can't fucking give him no more excuses. So it just, when do we continue? When do we stop the layers of excuses before we wake up and be like, what, this shit ain't right, and we should not be allowing this shit to carry on to what it's carrying on into. So, to me, I feel like I don't support people who are into that whole thing. I've tried to give Chris Brown the benefit of the doubt for that long, and it's gotten to a point where I just can't do it anymore. Like, I will admit that I have kind of bypassed it. I was like, let's give him a chance. It was just the whole thing we had with Rihanna. Everybody's still trying to drag him into that. But then when you hear continuously these cases that's coming out, it kind of started to be like, boy, at some point, you got to take responsibility for your shit. So the latest story I heard is that they arrested one guy. They were also saying that it was possible that the people who assaulted him knew who he was. And I was starting to think, well, if you think about it, if X said that he never really left his house, that he went out to buy a car, how do they know, first of all, he went to the bank to take money out? Number two, how do they even know that he was on his way to this place to get a car? And then as he was leaving, you went and assaulted him. So to me, it seems like it was some sort of inside job. And there may be somebody within his camp that tipped some people off and caused this whole robbery to happen. These days, you can't trust no goddamn body. I always tell you, like the words of Kaya, and I can't stand that bitch, but she didn't make sense in this one. Don't trust no niggas, don't trust no Christians. So she said that, and I don't trust neither one. I love my black people, my open-minded religious folk, or spiritual folk, but niggas and Christians, hell to the no. But on that point, so to continue with the narrative and to move on from this, because I don't want to get caught up in this forever. I got a lot of topics to talk about, including Nas and what he thought of the whole Jay-Z situation, and I mean the Jay-Z album release and a whole bunch of other stuff released in the same weekend as his. I'm going to get to that in a minute. But apparently the ex-girlfriend, Geneva Ayala, who I didn't even know what her name was, she was apparently beat up by X back in 2016. She created a GoFundMe account back in 2016 to help cover the cost of medical expenses and treatment for injuries she allegedly sustained at the hands of her ex-boyfriend. And what they're saying is that what the injuries from the GoFundMe page is this. What she was saying was, this is what y'all GoFundMe would be paying for. What she's saying is, there's 2 fractures in my left eye socket due to an aggressive hit, along with nose and jaw fractures. Since these bones are fractured, they're piercing into the back of my eyeball, causing damage to an optical nerve and my eye itself. The left side of my face has lost some sensation. I cannot feel my upper lip on the left side, and same for the upper teeth on my left side. And as far as my left eye's vision, it's diminishing as the days go by. It's crucial I get the surgery, otherwise my eyeball will die, and the nerve connecting my lip, cheek, and teeth will eventually die as well. I'd appreciate anything. This is a very strenuous obstacle that has been put in my hands. Also could use money towards my living situation and food. So she's managed to gather $6,000 in donations from all of this. And it's unfortunate that, because people out here can't, I hate you. You gonna sound like she needs a new titty and ass. I mean, she is a pretty girl. Can I just say this? If y'all want to know who she looks like, and this is going to be the gag of all gags, see, because, he talks about faggots and stuff in that interview. You know who his girlfriend look like? India Moore from Pose. Just saying. Exactly. How you doing? So, and if you don't know who she is, she plays Angel on the show, if you've been watching. I know, like, who's India? Now you know. Okay. So I say all this to say, like, you know what? I don't sit and clap and applaud for people that get killed over, stuff. But I feel like, you know what? When I was watching a lot of video footage from, she might be, I don't like to applaud when people get killed and stuff, but when you've pretty much your entire narrative, when you starting to post videos on your page somehow, well, when I die, I'm going to have this type of impact on people. Like, when you start speaking a lot of that negativity in existence, you call that shit upon yourself. Tupac talked about that stuff a lot when he was alive, and Biggie talked about that shit too, and you see where they ended up, 6 feet under over being murdered. So when you start talking about people getting killed and shot and this, that, and the third, when you call that shit into your life, that's going to happen. Stop. I always try to remove myself from negative situations or trying to be around people who are like that, who are always talking about death, who's always like surrounding themselves in it, or always having these violent thoughts. And don't get me wrong, like, I'm not talking about people who go through depression and stuff. That's a whole nother story when with that situation. But it's just try to always change your energy and your attitude. And oh yeah, him definitely 6'9". I don't like when he went around talking about oh, well, because of this situation, how it made him rethink. I just think you just wanted clicks and likes. You wanted attention on social media. So I don't believe him at all. I just think that this was him just trying to get somebody to, like, to me, he looks like Whoa Vicky with a dick. That's basically what he looks like. To me, just a mess, tired, through and delayed. So shout out to him, and let's move on. So apparently Nas, people asked him his thoughts on Jay-Z and Beyonce, or should we call it Jay-yonce or Bay-Z, whichever one you want to use, when they released the joint album Everything Is Love. They asked him his thoughts on if he was upset over the fact, because, you know, like, when that album came out, literally I was pissed. First of all, why y'all decided to drop that album an hour after I went off the air last Saturday? That's what pissed me off, number one. Because I'm just sitting there like, I'm just doing my show, minding my business, going through the whole situation. And then an hour later, I'm on social media getting all these alerts. I'm like, what the fuck? Jay-Z and Beyonce went and released a damn album. I didn't tell nobody. But I like that idea of them just like, you know what, let me just put a record out here and, like, surprise, go download it, listen to it, enjoy it. I listened to the record. I liked what I heard, but it's not something that I'm just going to be, like, bumping 10 years from now. It's cute for what it is at the time that it's at. And Beyonce rapping, like, girl, just stick to singing. Like, stop with the rapping and shit. Like, I get it's cute and all. You trying to show that, oh, you guys get, and some of them like, oh, well, Beyonce raps better than all these other rappers out here. I'm like, girl, first of all, we all know Beyonce ain't write them damn lyrics. So, well, yeah, I'd agree with that too. So I feel like maybe in a way, like, I was to conclude on what you're saying about Jay-Z has had his foot on Nas's neck for 17 years, like when the whole Ether thing and that whole situation came. Damn, it's been that fucking long. But when Ether and everything came out, like, I feel like Jay-Z and Nas, while they have been cordial, I feel like this is also maybe a dig at them. I think he's a casualty because of the whole Kanye situation. When he's aligned himself with good music, and he's aligned himself with Kanye West, or Kanye Kardashian, because he's more of a Kardashian than a West now. When you've aligned yourself with the enemies of the state, and that asshole in the White House that's ruining what's left of it, this is what you're going to get. So you are a casualty in this war. I think Tiana Taylor's next. Like, girl, you've been trying to put this album out for 10 years. It finally came out. Nobody cares. I mean, I've heard that the album is good. I heard that she's got a lot of really good songs on it, but I don't think like a lot of people relatively care about her or, you know, that sort of thing. So anyway, according to TMZ, sources close to Nas said that the Queensbridge rapper isn't fuming about Everything Is Love being released on Saturday and doesn't think the Carters will steal any thunder from his new album, which is called Nasir, which is his government name. According to TMZ, Nas fully appreciates the fact Jay and Bay are hip-hop royalty at this point and actually really likes their new record. Everybody, look, there's room for everybody in this fucking business. Is what out? Oh, yeah, I heard Tiana Taylor dropped that album yesterday. Allegedly. I don't know. I heard it came out yesterday because I saw everybody was talking about it. The Breakfast Club was talking about it. A lot of blogs was talking about it. So I do believe her album is out. If that's what you're talking about. Yeah, look, this room for everybody. First of all, if everybody should be mad, it's Christina Aguilera. Because look, Everything Is Love came out at the same time as Nas's album, came out at the same time as Christina's album. She'd been waiting 6 years to put this record out. I have to say I was fairly disappointed with her record. Yeah, I was fairly disappointed with Christina's record because I feel like she's an amazing singer, but I feel like she doesn't know who she is as an artist. And when you damn near 40 and you still haven't figured out who you are as a singer, who you are as a musician, and where you fit in this industry, then you know what, you maybe need to go and crawl your ass back to The Voice and figure out where you stand, who you are, and where you fit in this music business. Because look, we already know who Britney is. Britney is an entertainer. She's a performer, if you want to call her that. Like, people still waiting for her to get her 110% back on stage. But Christina's like somebody who's a great voice, but it's just, her music is just dry to me. That's all. So, look, this room for everybody. If you want to go buy their records, buy their records. Buy all three of the records if you want. But I just hate when people just try to be like, well, so-and-so is better because they released their record. But speaking of Jay-Z and stuff, I got a story about Prince and this whole title situation that his heirs are trying to find a way to slide their way out of being a part of the title family. So the attorney for Sharon, Noreen, and John Nelson, who are the siblings of Prince, almost forgot his damn name, blew the whistle on title with the probate judge in Prince's case. In a letter obtained, of course, by TMZ, they said Tidal's been accused of inflating the streaming numbers for Beyonce's Lemonade and Kanye's The Life of Pablo. So they also said that Tidal allegedly boosted the numbers by several hundred million streams, which would jack up the royalties paid to Bey and Ye. The heirs are asking the judges to reconsider the order that granted Tidal exclusive streaming rights for their upcoming album of unreleased Prince's music. They say they don't want an estate getting caught up in the streaming service's legal problems. Tidal was a mess. I've never been a subscriber of Tidal. I heard the album from Everything Is Love. I got that album. I got Lemonade. I got Life of Pablo. I have all them records. Did not get it from Tidal. Never listened to it on Tidal. I have friends who subscribe to Tidal, but I get all my shit off the internet. I am not paying money or dealing with this bullshit with her and all that other foolishness, in that way. Like, Tidal's a hot ass mess. I'm just surprised they've managed to last as long as they've had at this point. And where they stand with that, because Beyonce does say in one of the songs, like, if she's not that concerned with streaming, like if she was concerned with streaming numbers, I'm paraphrasing, if she was concerned with streaming numbers, she would have released the album on Spotify. So whatever, I like Spotify because it's free, and if you want to listen to music, I could just turn it on and have it on while I'm cleaning or doing whatever, or running or doing whatever you want to call it. Speaking of Beyonce, let's talk about Beyonce and Madonna. Allegedly, people are going around saying that Madonna may have thrown shade at Beyonce on one of her tweets, which I believe came out. Wait, what's huge in where you're? Because I know you're in Canada, but what's huge there? Is it Spotify or Tidal? Because people don't seem to care much for Tidal in the U.S., but I guess it's different everywhere else. Maybe that's why they've still been able to stay afloat. But anyway, so Madonna posted, and I posted a picture on my page, on my Facebook page too. You can go to the wall whenever you want. But watch me first. But went on her wall and posted a picture of the Carters. First of all, there was a picture that came out days before. There was a picture of the Carters looking at, when they were at the Louvre, they were looking at like all the art that was hanging up on the walls. So there was one that I saw that someone posted of Janet Jackson's albums and stuff. Madonna on her Twitter page posted pictures of her album covers while the Carters looked at the pictures of the albums on the walls of the Louvre. And what people are pissed off about is because in the tweet, she wrote the headline, "Learning from the Master, LOL, #art, #equals, #freedom." But I think what people are upset about is because They feel like they're trying to make it a race thing, basically. How was I going to phrase it? I just come out and say it. They're trying to say that Madonna's being, that what her choice of words comes across as racist. One person wrote, "Did you really just supposed to pick up two black people looking at you and referring to yourself as the master? Bitch, you done lost your goddamn mind." First of all, I think you're reading too much into it. I think where Madonna was looking at it, Madonna is not racist. She does not dislike black people. I know a lot of people are like, well, what's this? First of all, she has 4 black children. Her daughter's father, Lourdes, y'all seem to forget, her father is Puerto Rican. So Madonna's always been into black and Latino men, like from her living in New York in her 20s and this, that, and the third. Madonna is not racist. So if y'all trying to imply that, it's bullshit. Now, if you want to talk about something I'm about to talk about in a few minutes when I bring up Pose, and I got to talk about that, her coming in and colonizing the gay black culture, that's a whole nother story. And then changing her number when the Blonde Ambition tour was over. Wasn't the Blonde Ambition tour when she when they had Vogue and stuff like that? I think that was the tour. I'm trying to remember. There's been so goddamn many. But so her gentrifying the gay culture, that's a whole nother story. We can get into that conversation later on when I bring up the story that I got on Pose and my situation, that way I want to talk about that. What I believe she was saying was that, you know what? Madonna is the queen. Bow down to the queen. So that's basically what she was implying, is like learning from the master, which is, and Beyonce has said numerous times in her interviews, because I did see it in the article too, and it was going to justify my point. Madonna is a legend in this music business, and I believe at one point Beyonce said, if I'm I'll paraphrase it because I don't remember exactly the words, but she basically implied that she's always wanted to mold her career after Madonna and have this whole thing where she's built an empire, and she's pretty much done that, or taking, visual art and incorporating it into your music. So that's basically what she's done, and it is what it is. Like if you ever watch like how Beyonce puts together her shows and this, that, and the other, it is very similar to what Madonna has laid the foundation for. She is the first artist that I would say that has put on these elaborate stage performances with big jumbotron screens, exquisite choreography. Madonna always changes up her choreography, unlike Beyonce. Beyonce does the same goddamn choreography that you always see, and it's not throwing shade, it's just spewing facts. Is that a lot of times when you watch her tours, it's the same choreography, it's the same outfits, it's the same wig, it's the same everything. She'll throw a couple of different videos and stuff up in there to drive a new narrative, but the outline of the show is the same. At least every time you pay to go to a Madonna concert, which is expensive, like a lot of these mega tours are, you're always going to get a different type of show. You're always going to get a different type of situation being given to you. You're going to see something you haven't seen before. Even though some of the choreography may be signature, like whenever she performs Vogue, yeah, you'll get a lot of those signature moves, but a lot of the way the video is, or the way it's presented is different. She'll always give you a little something different to throw up in there, because after a while, as an artist, you get tired of doing the same goddamn choreography over and over. You know who's another one needs to change up her choreography? Jennifer Lopez. I'm about tired of her doing that same shit that she does. Or I've always noticed, like, you literally just started the Get Right, because she always opens with that damn song. And then, the minute she finishes the first verse, before you get to, I'm about to sign it off, we can get right. Sing it! Bitch, why I gotta fucking sing it? I'm paying to watch you sing. Perform. Well, damn, I was like, losing my damn mind. Let me bring it back. It's like, why do I always have to, why am I singing your song, bitch? We're here, we paid you to sing. Stop trying to, is that your way of trying to catch your breath? I mean, first of all, we already know the backing track is louder than your actual voice, but, you need to just do what. Well, yeah, she only changes the hood track. She freestyles. Well, is it really a freestyle when the lyrics have been written for you? Okay, so let's move on from that. So I guess it's official. I mean, I've heard the rumbling since last week, but I really didn't want to talk about this story until it was confirmed. But it has been confirmed, so we'll talk about it. The Connors are coming to ABC. I just knew that it was going to be too good to be true, that it was all going to be bullshit, that ABC reacted quickly. Oh, we have to reprimand Roseanne with all this other stuff. But then they were like, after they moved the cart before the horse, then, oh, wait a minute. Now, what about everybody else? We're still not going to profit off this show? So now you're looking at it as like, they knew there was this big money thing that they were making because Roseanne was like the highest rated sitcom that they've had on ABC in a long time. So while Roseanne was problematic, the show as a whole, they were making a lot of money. Now, will the show bring in the same kind of revenue as it once did without Roseanne being on the show? I don't know. I guess out of curiosity, people will watch. Quite frankly, I don't think I will be watching. I didn't watch Roseanne when it came back. When she was on there talking about being a Trump supporter. See, and I hate when people try to compare that show to shows like The Jeffersons and All in the Family and those type of things. A lot of the Norman Lear shows that existed, I think, before I was even aware of these shows. Like, I think I was way too young to even understand a lot of the shows, like All in the Family, Good Times, Maude. A lot of those shows, I've heard of them because I remember when I was a kid, and we only had like the main channels, which were CBS, NBC, ABC, Fox, and Channel 9, 11. They always showed syndicated shows. So whenever I watched shows like All in the Family and this, that, and the third, they were always, or The Jeffersons, it was reruns. I wasn't even aware of a lot of those shows because I was way too young to even understand a lot of those shows. And I was basically an infant. So, hi. Hey, Nadine, how you been? Okay, anyway. So, let me get back to the show. What was I saying? Oh, the difference between Carol O'Connor playing Archie Bunker and the difference between Roseanne Barr playing Roseanne Connor was the fact that Carol O'Connor was not Archie Bunker. He was not a bigot who believed the racist bullshit that he believed. He was a Democratic male playing a bigoted character. He was acting. Roseanne was not acting. Roseanne was somebody who was spewing lies about Obama being a Muslim. What was the woman's name that she compared to an ape? I forgot her name. But when she was spreading lies and all this other stuff and talking about that, the sex trafficking, which I think is about to happen again, even though I've heard, New York we have the biggest sex trafficking rings in New York. Nobody want to tell you about that. Like, I really believe, like, with these kids that they done shipped off from, the border to here in New York, in Harlem, guaranteed them children probably on one of them chatterbait websites being pawned off for some coins, for some bitcoins, while they're on there sticking oh my bods up their ass or whatever the case it is. So I don't know what the point was where I was just like, oh, so when you I know what the point was because I started veering off the rails for a second. Or we have to be mindful of the type of shows that we support and we understand. I had somebody had the nerve to tell me, who was gay, that, it doesn't affect me. I'ma still eat Chick-fil-A. It does affect you. Like, I don't understand how you could sit and eat Chick-fil-A when Chick-fil-A is anti-gay, anti-LGBT. A lot of the money that you will be shoving out of your pocket to eat their waffle fries and their greasy-ass chicken sandwiches, that money is going to anti-LGBT causes. So when you no longer have, when you're denied rights to do this, and this as an LGBT human being, is because the companies that you're funding is promoting this. So it does affect you. I'm sorry, all money ain't good money and all food ain't good food. And I'm not going to sit and put energy and money into something that wants to put me at harm. That I'm just saying, in general speaking, I don't know if they do this, but that promotes conversion therapy or whatever the case is, or anything anti-LGBT. I'm not going to support it, especially when it's Pride Month and the big one is tomorrow. And we have a lot to be thankful for, and we got to be out there marching and showing our faces and stuff. Me, I'm just kind of getting over the whole mainstream pride, like the New York one. And I think it's because of how corporate it's become. Like, for the whole month of June, TD Bank, Chase, H&M, every other corporation that you could think of loves us until July 1st, and then all of a sudden they remember who the fuck we was. So I was like, you just gotta be mindful of where you put your money and what you put your money into. But yeah, the Connors are coming back. I don't know did they even say what the premise is? Basically, they might have buying her out of her contract. So I guess she no longer, they paid her one lump sum. She no longer owns the rights to a lot of the characters. So the show's being called The Connors. They say it's a working title. I say keep it, even though I'm not going to watch the show. Or maybe, you know what? I hope this don't make me sound like a hypocrite, but I might actually just tune in for the first episode out of curiosity to see, and just to have something to talk about, because when you're in media, you need to talk about this shit. So maybe just to see, okay, so what are they going to do with the show? How are they going to put this show? How are they going to work the show without Roseanne? Are they going to kill her off? Are they gonna put her, say like, oh well, you know, the Trump supporter fell off the wagon, she's in rehab, and they didn't carted her ass away in a mental institution, or something like that, or she died in a plane crash. So I don't know, or so yeah, I'm like trying to look at so basically what this was like, you know what, this is a cash grab for ABC. They saw this was a lot of money they were going to lose out on, and they didn't want to lose out on it. Okay, so let's move on, because this is the topic I really want to get into. Let's talk about RuPaul's Drag Race, The Reunion. Now, I just want to say the Reunion, if you ain't hear this, if you ain't watch it, spoiler alert, I'm about to go into a whole situation of what happened. But I will say that The Reunion was the best episode of this entire season, simply because I did not think Drag Race this season was good at all. I'm going to do a whole break it down aesthetic of this show on my YouTube page. I'm going to do a whole video where it's probably going to take me 20 to 30 minutes to get through this shit, but I'm not going to, wait, hold on. I'm not going to go into a whole spiel about it right now. I just want to focus on, one of the conversations that was had. Like, I liked the episode. I thought RuPaul dropped the ball in regards of, the topic that was at hand when in regards of, the reunion, which was the overall racism that exists between the contestants who participate on Drag Race versus the fans of Drag Race. And the fact that it wasn't addressed, that you have a lot of people who are on Reddit or who are on Twitter that spew a lot of ignorant hatred towards a lot of the black queens, but a lot of the white girls tend to get away with murder, is a conversation that should have been had. And I felt like Rue's attitude towards the Vixen was a bit problematic. And I'm not saying I'm a big Vixen fan, because she is not innocent in this at all in certain situations. Her jumping into the situation with Cracker and Aquaria was entertaining. I'll say that. I was entertained by the drama of it all, of her playing instigator and being like, oh, you're just trying to gloss over this like it wasn't bothering you, but you implied that it was bothering you when you were hanging around with us earlier. So, with that, what basically was said was that, okay, so the Vixen was trying to defend herself. Rue was trying to say, well, don't you see, like, the stuff you were saying, you should be able to take responsibility for the stuff you said, take responsibility for your actions. The Vixen was like, well, why is everybody telling me to change and that I have to behave a certain way, but why is nobody coming at Eureka for being annoying, for being loud, for being obnoxious, for poking the bear, but when I retaliate, oh, you're the angry black woman or black queen, oh, you need to pipe it down, oh, you need to be like, because I get the same shit, like when people come at me a certain way and they poke the bear and poke the bear and poke the bear. It's like, I will let it go for as long as I can, because I'm a lot older. Back in the day, I used to just punch you in the face and ask questions later. That's the way I used to be. I don't do that no more. Because you realize, well, you also, when you have the realization that when you assault people, you get arrested, which happened to me also. That's a learning lesson. When you get locked up, and the worst part is it's over the weekend, so you're stuck in jail until you see a judge at midnight Monday morning, which is the worst. So when you're in jail for days, that's the fucked up part. Like, at least if you're going to punch somebody in the face, punch him in on a Tuesday so you can see the judge on a Wednesday. And you ain't got to be there for 2 or 3 days in the same fucking clothes holding your shit because, and refusing to eat the food because they give you cheese, thick-ass government cheese in between 2 slices of dry-ass bread with mustard. Who the fuck eats sandwiches with mustard and no meat in it? And then they give you a dry-ass tangerine and some milk. I can't stand fucking milk. Like, the only way I can drink milk is if it's in, like, it comes with something. Like if I pour it in my coffee or whatever the case, I can't drink it plain. My throat starts to feel weird. Might be because I'm at lactose intolerant. But it was like when, so I'm not expecting like 4-star cuisine in jail. But, and then when you ain't got no privacy and you're in a room with people who are trying to go to the bathroom, like I will hold my shit for days. I will let my insides rot before I crap in front of somebody. But then again, if you in there for months and to a year, you ain't got no choice. Like you just be like, okay, I'm just used to it. So, let me get back to the comments because I'm going off the topic. So basically, the Vixen did an article with, I think it's called Into, that's what it's called. INTO. So look it up online. I posted on my page. So actually, if you go there and you look through my timeline, you'll see the video. The interview was there. Definitely read it. To me, I thought it was quite entertaining of what she was saying, when she was giving her side of the whole coin. And what she was saying was that she was going through a lot. At the time of the reunion, her mother was in the hospital. She was sick. She wanted to go and be with her mother, but her mother was like, if you do not go to this reunion, what they're going to say, they're going to create this narrative and say, oh, you created this whole drama of the season, and so you wanted to not show up is an act of being weak or being a pussy. And I'm not going to show up and, excuse me, I'm not going to show up as showing that you're a coward in a way. And that might not be the case because everybody doesn't know what's going on in your personal life. So, she also said that she was upset with producers on the way they try to tackle the whole race issue. That they were trying to create this narrative of making the Vixen look like the villain, but then it looked like they turned their whole situation off on them. And so, what they were basically saying was that you were trying to create a narrative. I did like the fact that Asia O'Hara did try to come to the Vixen's defense, and how Rue always like, well, there comes a point in life where you just got to learn to take shit, and you can't just fly off the handle and have an attitude and this, that, and the other whenever somebody comes at you. Yes, that's true. But most people who are 21, 22, 23, 24, 25 don't understand that until they become of a certain age. Rue has to realize he is a queen in his 50s. He's middle-aged. He has a book coming out in October called Guru. So, you know, RuPaul Chopra is out here trying to give fucking you know, these quotes on a magnet type of advice to people, like, you know, he is Deepak Chopra and fucking Oprah wrapped up in one. And to me, it just seems like there comes a certain time where it's like you have to learn on your own, but you have to learn on your own when you are a certain age. And with age comes wisdom. When you're young, I'm not trying to say that it's an excuse of being young, but when you don't know, because this is all you know, sometimes taking someone to the side and explaining it to them and being like, you know what? You don't always have to come at people in this way. There are so many other ways that you can get your point across, especially when you're black, because you know the moment you're a person of color and they look at you a certain way and you start piping off and being angry and this, that, and the other, they're going to paint you with that angry black woman or angry black man narrative. So you have to try to find another way to come at it without trying to become aggressive and combative, because it's immediately going to turn people off based off of cultural stereotypes that they've become accustomed to. It's a whole cultural situation. And for RuPaul's sucked into the matrix behind to sit there and try to make it seem like the Vixen was this evil entity, and talking about, well, sometimes you just gotta sit and take shit. Oh, well, we get it. We get now, because before, I remember when this show first started, you were not trying to be that person. You didn't want to be the person that was like, oh, well, I'm just gonna take it. I'm just gonna deal with the bullshit from the man. But now you're dealing with the man because you are part of the matrix. You are part of the system. Once you move this show, once you are part of Drag Race transition from Logo, which was a little station not a lot of people had, to VH1, I feel like y'all jumped the shark. Number one, them challenges was bullshit on the season. Like, you're doing fucking challenges where you're decorating pancakes and Cheyenne Jackson has to judge which pancake is the best. Like, really? Like, what is this, Drag Chef? Like, Top Chef Drag Edition? Like, now all of a sudden we're doing stupid challenges that have nothing to do with drag and performing and this and the other. Like, y'all just coming up with bullshit because your audience is huge now. Like, it's just ridiculous. And to me, I feel like as a black queen who has over 1 million sub followers, this is the perfect time where you should have been like, you know what? There is an overall problem that we have with fans who are being relatively nasty and are trolling people online with racial bullshit and trying to talk about, well, you need to get your attitude under control. I've seen a lot of you white people saying that shit on Facebook and a lot of different sites. One of the things I did like was that Bob pointed out that there was an issue with queens of color and how they're being treated on social media, especially when it comes to black queens versus white queens. Whereas you have Violet Chachki has 1.2 million followers. Sasha Velour has 1.1 million followers. Pearl, who was beyond dry during her damn season, has 1 million followers. And I don't know what the fuck that bitch been doing ever since. Katya's boring ass, 1.2 million followers. Alaska has 1.3 million, and Trixie has 1.2 million. And then somebody tried to say, well, you're trying to say that, well, that's not true because Bianca Del Rio has over 1 million viewers. Number one, Bianca Del Rio is not a white woman. Bianca Del Rio is of Latin descent. And number two, Bianca Del Rio is a comic. So her type of drag is way different. The way that she's, her drag aesthetic is different from a lot of these other girls. And Bianca Del Rio, the way she managed to work her narrative made people like her a lot. It was like she played this platform of being the hateful girl, but it was said with love. It's kind of like how I bring my reads and my roasts and gags. It's like I say the funny shit, but I say it with love. Most of the time. But definitely read the interview, because the funny thing that I found relatively interesting was that the Vixen compared RuPaul to a Reddit troll, where it was like, you're flying off the handle and you're cussing people out and you're saying all this crazy stuff. Look at me, God damn it. I come from the same goddamn place she comes from. And here I am. You see me walking out? No, I'm not walking out. I fucking learn how to act around people and how to deal with shit. I'm not fucking around and saying, fuck y'all. That's disrespectful. Like I said, when I was the Vixen's age, how I dealt with situations when I wasn't winning, or when I wasn't, not when I was winning, because that's not what arguments are about. Arguments aren't always about winning them. When you're at a point where you're basically saying that, what is it? Oh, when you're trying to get your point across and you can't get your point across, and it's out of frustration, and the person that you're trying to talk to is not listening, sometimes the best thing for you to do is to walk away. You're not looking at it as like, oh, well, I'm being disrespectful, because that's never how my intentions were. I remember one time I did that at a friend's house, and we were all drinking, and he wound up saying some shit that pissed me off, and I was like, you know what? Instead of me having to cuss him out in his own house, I got my ass up and I walked out of the room. He got an attitude with me, talking about basically trying to kick me out of the house and saying that you need to leave. And I'm not understanding, like, why was I having to leave because I walked out of the room? Like, I don't want to listen to what you have to say. You pissed me off right now. Like, I'm in my feelings. And I didn't understand at the time that it was a form of disrespect. So it's like, I always said, well, you know better, you do better. And I think sometimes people need to kind of like just sit back and take that time to understand where people are coming from. So when the Vixen called RuPaul a Reddit troll, I kind of saw it in that same context. Like, I feel like when someone who is saying like, well, they don't want trans people on their show because you're not a drag queen, which we all know trans people aren't drag queens, but they also use illusion. I mean, they use that as performances and all that. It's a whole nother thing. I don't want to get into all of that. Like I told you, I'll break all that down. But I just have to say, while the Vixen has been polarizing and she said certain things that I did not agree with, I do agree with her on this. And a lot of what she was saying in regards of, RuPaul and not bringing up bringing into the conversation about drag performers getting a lot of shit from a lot of the fans who watch. Why can't people just watch a show and enjoy it for what it is instead of trying to make this personal about you? You don't personally know Eureka. You don't personally know Aquaria. You don't personally know Cracker. There are a couple of the girls on the show that I do know. outside of Drag Race that I have been friends with, that I have partied with, that I have gone to their shows and supported them in a lot of ways. But I don't go on social media and start saying raggedy shit about them. Now, one of the things, I mean, I have said certain things about Craig, and I've tweeted her on it, and I've said it to her on her Facebook page about how I feel like it's weird that the way I see her on this show is not how I've seen her perform at her shows. Like, to me, she's a completely different person. Not saying like being fake or whatever. Not like Cameron's been showing two sides of her face like on Instagram versus being on the show. When I've watched certain people on the show and all the other stuff, it's like, but I've seen the way you perform. Like, you really bring it when you're on the stage. But it's like being in a reality show. I guess because, people in real life don't know how to make the transition into reality TV, where it's like they can kind of figure out and maneuver how they behave when they come across on a reality show. Reality TV is completely different than competition TV is way different than real life. So it's like you could compete in a pageant in the real life setting, like one of the pageants that we have, many pageants we have in New York, but it's different from, all the other stuff. So yeah, I say I stand with you, the Vixen, and I want to move on to the next topic, which is Pose. I'm starting to worry a little bit about this show, but I know we're 3 episodes in, and I did a story about why Pose is not registering in the ratings. It is bringing in 500,000 viewers, which is a little over 600,000 people are watching. And I guess this is from Nielsen ratings, is what a lot of people are going based on. I love the show. I think the show is vitally important. I think the show is definitely an opportunity for us. That in my house. I feel like both shows are an opportunity for us to take back the QPOC narrative. And if you don't know what QPOC means, it's queer persons of color. Like, when we have to take our narrative back, I feel like this is what we're doing with this show. Is that we're taking back what has been taken from us, from, Madonna and the whole Vogue thing and making it mainstream. And I love how she made it mainstream, but she didn't create it. She basically saw it being in New York, watching Paris is Burning. And I do love the fact that, yes, she did bring in a lot of the dancers from the extravaganzas, taught her how to Vogue and how she brought them into, and then the ninjas, like bringing the ninjas and extravaganza, all these people from these houses into, the Blonde Ambition tour and playing this whole family dynamic, and I'm the mommy and you're my family and all so forth. And then, the night that the show's over, and we've all gone our separate ways, all of a sudden the bitch done changed her damn number. Like, I'm sure y'all seen Strike a Pose, the documentary where the dancers who were in who went on tour with Madonna basically talked about what life has been like during and after going with her on their tour. So that, and also let's not forget the House of Diarrhea, the clothing line that Beyonce's mother had, where they made them horrible ass fucking costumes they used to wear on stage. The House of Gaga, which, that takes from us. We had houses. We created houses to house families because their kids was kicked out of the street and this, that, and the third. So yes, I've been going hard on trying to promote the hell out of Pose, making sure that people know about it. And one of the things is when I brought this conversation up, I was surprised that I had quite a few friends of mine, and thank you all for the ones who were going out and saw the post and were sharing it and posting it on their page and starting the conversation with their friends and their followers and that sort of thing, and keeping the conversation going about the show. So I applaud you all and thank you all for doing that, because what it did was it opened up a conversation with a lot of friends about it. I have a friend, Ron, who had not heard of Pose and was curious about it, and I told him about it because he saw what I had written in my timeline, and he said, you know what? I'm not necessarily into ballroom culture. I've never been into the whole thing about, black men and feminine men and that sort of thing, because it was a preconceived stereotype that he had been given based off of media and that sort of thing, and knowing the history of Paris is Burning, where you saw a lot of these feminine men. But we all know, those of us who have been historically exposed to ballroom culture know there are many categories that you walk, including butch queen, including banjee boy, which is basically an old school term for masculine guys who can walk out of their house and you would never know that behind closed doors, they are full on homosexual. They are taking big old 10-inch dicks up their ass, and they they getting straight up full on pig roasted, is what I'll say. So there are categories you can walk. You can walk a category where it's like, yeah, you look totally the stereotype of what a masculine guy is, and it is a category that you win a trophy for it. If you can pull off the illusion that you are a masculine male, then people will be like, okay, you snatched the trophy. So, and another thing, definitely read this interview that Billy Porter did for Queer Tea. It was very inspiring, thought-provoking, I loved reading the article on him when he was talking about it, and how I know a lot of people saying, like, the reason why they didn't want to watch Pose, one of my friends did say this, I don't like Ryan Murphy's work, because 9 times out of 10, whenever Ryan Murphy comes out with a project, what he does is, it starts out great, and then it falls off the rails midway. And I'm like, that's usually true if he's, I guess, doing it with himself and the team of people he has. But I feel like this show is different because he's brought on people who he's not in that wheelhouse. He is not familiar with ballroom culture and the urban, the QPOC life and how we all live and how that world was in 1987. So we brought on consultants who can write, who can direct, who can be as authentic as possible with these stories. So I applaud him for bringing people on for doing so. That's why I feel like the show is different in that way. So, and also what people need to realize is that Ryan Murphy is not just out here trying to milk our stories and take advantage of queer people of color. He is actually giving back to our community as well, because what I've heard is that from the show, he is giving a lot of the proceeds that he's made from Pose to all different kinds of LGBTQ organizations that definitely need help and funding. And one of the things that you have to learn is that when you're a person who has a lot of power, especially in Hollywood, the only way you can give back, and I know a lot of people get all upset, like we got Mara Block-Akil trying to get $60 million for a Girlfriends movie. I don't know who's gonna watch that shit, but wait, I shouldn't say that, because you know what? First of all, Patrick Ian Poe could say the same thing about Noah's Ark, and then people could say the same thing about that show. There is an audience out there for Girlfriends. So if you're gonna, we need to look at our gay white allies. I'm not saying that we all got to be like, oh, Gays Bowser, please give us a job. Like, I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying, like, it's always good when our white gay allies step up and they're like, you know what? This is a great story. This story needs to be told. There's enough white folks floating around on TV with their stories being told, and it's cute and everything. One of the things I'm really hoping is that gay people, enough people, I know like a lot of people say they can't relate, but you know what, there's a story in there for everybody. It's not just about the ballroom scene. That's just the glitz and glamour of it all to get you, to pull you in to watch. It's kind of like Glee. Like Glee was all about, like, wasn't always all about the songs and dances. It was always something in between. Well, the good seasons of Glee, the first 2, because the seasons after that was a hot ass mess. But there's more to it than that. Like, there's the story of family, and then there's the story about HIV and AIDS. I did a whole breakdown of episode 3. Go to my YouTube page, look it up, Kris Avalon. I'm there. I did where I broke down the entire episode of episode 3. I'm going to start doing more of them. Speaking of which, I'm looking forward to tomorrow's episode, which I don't think I'm going to watch tomorrow because tomorrow is like Pride Sunday, and it's going to be a lot of big events. I don't think anybody's going to be home watching Pose, but what I will say is that Christopher Maloney, my Stabler, who I always will know as Detective Stabler on Law & Order SVU, is going to be on the show. He is playing Electra's sugar daddy. So, I'm definitely looking forward to that. I love me some Christopher Maloney. First of all, I'm jealous. Dominique, you got to be loved on by Christopher Maloney and all that booty. I'm jealous, I have to say. I'm jealous of her. Like, you are living your best life, Annie. And I'm hoping that if the show gets a season 2, and I'm really hoping it does, if FX drops it, hopefully we can create big enough petition, like they did with Lucifer, and get Pose taken to Netflix. I hope it ends up on Netflix, number 1. And number 2, I hope the girls from Pose that what is required in the next season that y'all take acting classes, because as much as I love you, Dominique, girl, the delivery of them lines, like everything does not have to always sound like you about to fight a bitch. Like you gotta know that in certain scenes when it comes, like I have done acting, that's why I know I can say this. I've taken acting classes. I've appeared in a couple of films and things. Trying to get back into it. But as far as acting goes, you have to know, like, you have to talk like how the big secret of acting is talk how you would actually talk in a regular conversation with anybody. The different tones of your voice, the different ways that you would bring a conversation across. Like, that's basically how you do acting. You basically would talk, I would talk like how I would talk regularly to my friends is how I would talk, unless you Meryl Streep, you playing like some, a different accent or whatever the case is, then it's different. But I say all this to say, hopefully we get more people supporting Pose. I think, let's wait. I hope they wait until the season's over to see how the numbers do. But I feel like the more we start the conversation about Pose, the more we start talking about Pose, the more we start bringing the attention to it. Oh, I was like, hey, Remy. Oh, I don't know if you probably did miss it. You missed my conversation about Drag Race, by the way. But, what I want to say is, like, as long as we continue to support Pose and bring up the attention of it and talk more about it, the more people will tune in, and I think the show will last more seasons. I do feel like hopefully this show is so groundbreaking. We definitely need this show on air, because the more people tune into shows like this, the more stories will get told about people of color who are gay and LGBTQ elemental P, and we'll get to see those stories, because it's about time. Like, we need more stories. We need that show with an all-gay cast of people of color, be it they Black, Asian, Middle Eastern. Like, let's get all those shows. Like, I need the gay Black version of Insecure. Like, I need that. Let's go. Where's that at? But anyway, it is down to the first hour. We gotta take a break. We come back, I got to get to my stories, including Kim Zolciak being fake as fuck on Don't Be Tardy, and now how Bravo is scared, or they're nervous. They're relatively nervous about where the show, like, this might be a shitty season. I might watch just to see how this train wreck unfolds. Tisha Campbell saying her husband's stashing money. Who else? Mary J. Blige and Kendu have finally divorced. What is it? Joe Jackson's on his deathbed. The drama with that. Naomi Campbell is in talks of trying to get people who are designers to get more of them exposed outside of the machine of Fashion Week. And also, I got some LGBT news, including one of the big ones that I definitely want to talk about. There's a new Latin-based show featuring gay people. They're doing like a gay version of The View. I'm pissed because I already had that fucking idea. But you know what? Fuck it. I'm gonna still do my goddamn idea. But there's a show that's coming in to a network where there's gonna have an all gay cast of Latin men, Latinx, since we're using that phrase now. So I got that story that I gotta come up, and there's, being that it's Gay Pride Week, and I want to introduce you guys to a super gonorrhea strain that is currently floating around and might be coming to the U.S. very soon. So that and a whole lot more. But first, we're going to play a song from none other than Miss Vanjie. She has a new song called, oh my God, I'm Vanjie. So we have that. We're going to play that, take a commercial break, and come back with a new song from Lizzo called Boys, and all the tea and gossip that I did promise you. So don't go away. We'll be right back with more of the Kris Avalon Show. And I'm going to sign off because gotta save this video, and then I'm gonna come back with more stuff. So thank you all for watching. Come back with the next part. Love you all. I'll be back.